Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a situation that, let's be honest, every single golfer dreads. You know the one. You hit a great shot, but now you've got to go find it in the thick stuff. So let's paint a picture here. You've hit your ball into the rough, maybe it's some tall grass, maybe it's under a tree, and now the search is on. But what are you actually allowed to do? Can you just start stomping around and moving things? Where's the line? Well, lucky for us, the rules of golf have a specific guide for this exact moment. It's Rule 7, and it's all about helping you find your ball fairly so you can get back to playing, all while making sure you're playing the course as you find it. Okay, let's get right into it. The first part of the rule, what does a fair search for your ball actually mean? The whole idea here is that you're allowed to take what the rules call reasonable actions. And they even give examples, like moving grass, bending branches, or even shifting a little sand and water to see if your ball is under there. Now, this is where things get really, really important. There is a critical line between searching and improving your conditions for the next shot. You can search, for sure, but if your search just so happens to clear a perfect path for your backswing, well, you've gone too far. That's a penalty for breaking Rule 8.1. This happens way more than you'd think, and I'm not just talking about bunkers. What if your ball gets completely covered by sand in, say, a waist area? Well, the rules have a very specific procedure for this. So if you find your ball was buried in sand, you have to recreate that original lie as best you can before you hit it. Rule 7.1b is super clear. You can leave a tiny bit of the ball showing, but if you play it from that nice dugout spot you created, yep, that's a penalty. All right, so you found a ball. It looks like yours. But let's be real, in a world full of identical Titleist Pro V1s, how can you be 100% sure it's yours without getting a penalty? Rule 7.2 gives you a couple of ways to do this. Maybe you saw it come to rest, or you find the right brand and number. But the absolute best way? Seeing your own personal mark on it. That little dot, those lines you draw on it. This, right here, is why marking your ball is so important. Okay, so what if the ball is like half buried in mud or it's sitting in some leaves and you can't see your mark? The rules do allow you to lift it to check, but you have to follow a very strict procedure. Here's how it works. First, you absolutely must mark the spot of the ball. Then you can lift it, but you're only allowed to clean it just enough to see your mark. Once you've confirmed it's yours, you have to put it right back where it was, exactly as it was. And you really don't want to mess this up. If you forget to mark the spot before you lift, or if you decide to give it a full wash when you're not supposed to, Rule 7.3 slaps you with 1 penalty stroke. It's such a simple mistake to make, but it's costly. And it's in there to make sure everybody plays by the same rules. Okay, this next part covers one of the most common things that can happen during a ball search. What happens when your search gets a little too enthusiastic? Oh man, it happens to everybody, right? You're wading through the tall grass, you accidentally kick your ball, or you even step on it. In the old days, this was an automatic penalty, but thankfully, the rules have changed for the better. So here's the crucial thing to remember. Under Rule 7.4, if you or anyone else accidentally moves your ball while you're trying to find it, there is absolutely no penalty. This is a huge relief for every golfer out there. And it just acknowledges that, hey, accidents happen. And the rule is actually pretty generous with the definition of accidentally. It even covers things that were likely to move the ball, like sweeping your feet through some tall grass to feel for it. The rules recognize that this is just a normal part of searching. However, and this is a big one, this protection only applies during the search. If you cause your ball to move before you actually start looking for it, say you carelessly walk up to the area and just kick it, that is a 1-stroke penalty under a different rule, Rule 9.4b. So penalty or no penalty, it doesn't matter. The procedure after you move your ball is always the same. You have to estimate where it was originally and put the ball right there. And if it was covered in sand, yeah, you have to recreate that lie too. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here, from buried lies to accidental kicks. So let's do a quick recap of the key things from Rule 7 that you really need to remember when you're on the course. These are the 5 big ones. Search reasonably. Don't improve your lie. Mark before you lift. Remember, no penalty for accidental movement during the search. And always, always replace the ball. If you can remember these, you can navigate a tricky search fairly, and, most importantly, without adding any of those frustrating strokes to your score. And this quote from the Rules of Golf really sums it all up.
The rule is designed to find a balance between a fair search and one of the game's core principles: play the course as you find it. It gives you rights as a player, but it also gives you responsibilities.
And that really leaves us with a final thought. I mean, these rules provide the framework, but golf has always been a game of honor. How you apply these rules, especially when you're deep in the woods all by yourself, well, that says everything about the true spirit of the game.